Hello, crypto people. I'm Joey from the Chart Guys. I've been trading for 7 years, learning under Dan at the Chart Guys for 6 of them. Joined as a member in 2018, and now I am part of the team there. I'm here to talk about some crypto. So, Bitcoin, it is just tightening on up. It is tightening on up, and as much as we want volatility, we don't really have a lot of volatility right now. In general, the environment is still like volatile. If we run a percentage move from the low to the high there, it's still 12.78%. So we will see a time where we have even less volatility. But when we zoom out and look at what we've been coming from, it is a decent change of pace to be going sideways at the highs here. And until this range breaks, we don't really have anything material changing here for Bitcoin. So when we were talking on Tuesday, that was during this pullback, and we're saying, is it healthy? Is it yada yada, that whole thing? And the answer was yes, because as long as we're holding 3-day 12 EMA, then the status quo remains and bulls maintain control. After this big move up, bulls will absolutely take sideways. Doesn't mean that this can't break bearish, but it is a testament that bears are really not doing diddly here on Bitcoin. So one little caveat in terms of looking for volatility when this range breaks, because we had this little higher high without follow through here, I will be a bit cautious if we are to go to new all-time highs. Just kind of being aware that with this higher high without follow through, I'd say that marginally increases the odds that we could see a new all-time high without follow through. And if we were to see that, then it would be decently reminiscent of the April 2021 high, where we essentially had a little bit of a rising wedge up here at the highs, and then that led to monthly consolidation. And the context is pretty similar as well. After just a beastly monthly move up to new all-time highs, then monthly consolidation. So we would keep an eye on that. And essentially, to kind of break down, just like in general, how do you go about determining a lack of follow through? And it would be, say we get a new all-time high and then lose the 4-hour uptrend right after that, then we would say it's a lack of follow through. If we pop to a new all-time high and then pull back, but the 4 hours still healthy, then that's okay. But even if we don't get follow through, that's bears playing defense. They need to get on offense for anything to really change there. So we'll just take what we get, see what we get as it comes. And for the time being, Bitcoin's just going sideways. So if we lose 3-day 12 EMA, we know that's our midterm guide, we'll call it. Then we're zooming out to the weekly 12 EMA. And ultimately, if we're talking monthly consolidation shaping up, then weekly 12 EMA is going to be lost. And at this point, we are decently far from it, 12.5% above it. So we'll work with the 3-day. If that's lost, we'll zoom out to the weekly. And then when that is inevitably lost, whether it is this month, next month, or next winter, then we'll zoom out to the monthly. So to zoom in on the short-term price action on Bitcoin, we have got a daily higher low set here at 67.5K. And now bulls are kind of struggling to get a 4-hour higher low set. So we know when you break the high of the previous day, we'll go back to the daily here. When you break the high of the previous day, that's your daily higher low being set. But if we want to have full confidence in that, we need our smaller nested time frame to get its trend change. So at this point, the 4-hour move is straight off the low. So it's on bulls to hold that bottom at 67.5K and then go back up through the high of 71.3K. That would be the 4-hour uptrend confirming and give us more confidence in bulls regaining intermediate control here. But as I've said before, I generally don't trip up on trends too much within a tightening range just because we know to anticipate a bit of a lack of clarity. So let's zoom into the 15-minute. So bulls did get a 15-minute uptrend, but unable to see that further continuation. So kind of losing clarity here. Maybe the hourly is going to be our ticket. I think that's the ticket. So actually I'll use the path tool for this because it's a little bit cleaner. So high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And now if we want to get the 4-hour higher low set, then it says chat disabled, unable to connect. So I might not be able to see what you guys are saying. We'll see if that sorts itself out. But if we want to get the 4-hour higher low set, we're going to need an hourly uptrend from here. So that's what we'll be looking for And we'll say that anything over this low of 69,567 going to be an hourly higher low. And that's pretty much that on Bitcoin here. To take a little bit of a step back and look at the broad market, got bulls buying up the dip aggressively here. We knew weekly consolidation was underway. We know that as long as weekly 12 EMA is support for the S&P 500, then broad market bulls maintain full control. And it's looking like that daily or that weekly higher low is shaping up, keeping everything very healthy. And that's what Bitcoin bulls want to see. That's what crypto bulls in general want to see, because I'd imagine that next time we consolidate on the monthly on the S&P 500, it would not be shocking at all to see Bitcoin consolidate along with the broad market there. So always keep an eyes on that. So let's move on. ETH. So similar deal here. We'll stick with the 3-day because that's what we're doing on Bitcoin. So a little 3-day uptrend reconfirmed, no follow through. If we look at Bitcoin, very similar, except we weren't coming off of a lost uptrend, but a little higher high, no follow through, and just ultimately kind of going sideways, kind of chopping around. We know weekly 12 EMA is our bigger picture guide, and it's much more in play on ETH than it is on Bitcoin, but we've got a similar deal here. Daily consolidation, daily higher low has been set, but we don't have the 4-hour uptrend. So it is on bulls to regain a 4-hour uptrend from here, which would look like holding 34.11 and going back up and breaking 36.17. If we were to drop to lower lows there, then next thing we'd be looking at is ultimately the weekly 12 EMA, which is right around 32.30 at the moment. So the big thing with ETH is, can ETH BTC confirm a daily uptrend? We know bigger picture, we're in an area of interest looking at the monthly here. We've got this key support, and we've had bulls trying to defend it for several months here now, and they're making another little attempt at it. So we had daily 12 EMA, daily downtrend guide. Bulls got up and over, and now it's on them to confirm a daily uptrend on ETH BTC to see weekly bounce follow through. Then we'd be looking for a weekly lower high compared to 605. So at this point, just a daily stair step down and a 4-hour downtrend on the way down there. That 4-hour downtrend is going to need to be broken to shape up a daily higher low. And then it's going to be all about this 5206 daily lower high resistance. Or it's not a daily lower high. We broke daily lower highs, but it is our current daily bounce top. So that's what we're looking at on ETH BTC. And honestly, I care more about ETH BTC than I do about ETH USD, because as long as ETH BTC is weak, then we know that there's better places to be. We know that there are better places to be. Let me look into this. YouTube thing. I hope I'm streaming. If anybody in the chart guys is listening, if you can comment in the thread here, see if I'm talking to myself or if there's folks here. I would appreciate it. All right, moving on though, we'll keep the show live. So last week we were talking about LTC BTC, daily head and shoulders. That has now confirmed. That is LTC BTC bears defending the weekly 12 EMA. So now the big question is, can we get a weekly uptrend from here on LTC BTC to try to see monthly bounce follow through? So we'll just trust our daily downtrend, and as long as we're in that daily downtrend, then LTC USD has relative weakness. So looks like I got a check mark from someone in the chat, guys. WC Mick. Hopefully that means that y'all can hear me, but my viewer count is not changing. Okay, y'all can hear me. Thank you, Carlos JF. I'm going blind on my end, so I won't be able to read any comments. Maybe I'll try to refresh it when we're done with the rundown. But anyways, LTC BTC daily downtrend guide. As long as that's the case, LTC USD is relatively weak. Looking at LTC USD here, we have bears trying to get weekly consolidation underway, but bulls defending support at 93.20. We've got the current low of this week, 93.46. At our daily EQ, broke bear of the first level, couldn't break bear of the second level, and we'll just watch this tightening range still. So key support going to be that 93.20 and our first resistance overhead is 105.95. If we break this little daily stair step, that daily bounce would be underway, and we'd be looking for that lower high compared to 105.95. And the direction these weekly inside bars break will be important, because if they break bear, then that's a weekly bull flag confirmed without follow through right into our key resistance. So bulls want to keep the show on the road, get through 115, confirm a quarterly uptrend, and get a yearly higher low set in a yearly tightening range. If bears defend 115 and we enter weekly consolidation from here, then that would be the first sign. The weekly bull flag confirming without follow through would be the first sign that maybe we've got monthly consolidation shaping up here. So what else we got? We got a little relative strength in SOL. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. It's throwing me off. Got a little relative strength in SOL here today, and this is on the heels of a daily downtrend confirming without follow through. So remember, on this pullback here, we got our weekly consolidation underway, but the big question was, are bears going to be able to confirm a downtrend to see further weekly consolidation? They confirmed the downtrend and then right into a daily bounce. So same principle that we're talking about with LTC USD on the weekly, with the weekly bull flag confirming without follow through, maybe leading to monthly consolidation. It's the same thing on SOL USD here with the daily. The daily bear flag confirmed without follow through could be the first sign that a weekly higher low is shaping up here. And it's actually got nice confluence with SOL BTC, because we're now testing weekly 12 EMA here. So let's see if that daily stair step is broken. It has. So we have a daily bounce underway on SOL BTC from weekly 12 EMA. That's what SOL USD bulls want to see, to know that we've got relative strength. If we look back to SOL USDT, anything below 184.68 going to be a daily lower high. And if we reject from that and get the daily lower high after bouncing a little bit more, bulls will be watching out for an inverse head and shoulders. If we were to top out the bounce here, we would then be watching out for like a falling wedge. Something like that. Something like that. So eyes on SOL for a weekly higher low. Got signs that it is shaping on up. As far as other names looking for weekly higher lows, we've got RNDR testing weekly 12 EMA. We know weekly 12 EMA has been holding for quite some time, since November here, and we're coming down here testing it. So it's on bulls to regain a daily uptrend. They're not pleased with the depth of consolidation here after a decent daily bounce. Lots of room for a daily higher low, and now we're back knocking on support. So something to keep eyes on here. Another falling wedge. Something like that. Something like that. We'll draw it like that. So yeah, got a nice daily falling wedge into weekly 12 EMA, looking for a weekly higher low. So keeping eyes on that with RNDR USD. Just got a daily stair step at the moment. And when you've got a falling wedge like this, the main thing that it's telling us is that bears are losing their momentum. They're struggling to see follow through. So with that, you can bottom fish something like this, but I pretty much never bottom fish within a falling wedge, because the character of the pattern is letting us know that we're getting lower lows without follow through. So bulls looking for a weekly higher low on RNDR. Let's mark our exact weekly 12 EMA. Get it marked there. They would love a bear break of this double bottom, come down, get the weekly 12 EMA tag, and then come back up here. So you can play it as like a, let's see, maybe a 4-hour stair step. If we were to continue on down, break this double bottom, you could try to take like a 4-hour stair step entry. That's the most aggressive entry for that. More patient is going to wait for another daily bounce and essentially try again on what I imagine folks have been trying here of, looking for the daily higher low. So a couple ways to go about it. Another way to go about it would be looking for a 4-hour uptrend to confirm, or looking for us to get over 4-hour 12 EMA. So if we get a 4-hour bounce underway from here, something like that, fish the 4-hour higher low, look for the uptrend. There's so many different ways to go about playing any of this stuff. Like we have the TA, we have the patterns, but each individual is going to have a different toolkit that they're going to dip into when they look to try to position for stuff like this. Someone who's more hands off can say, yeah, I don't know, I'm just going to be taking some scales down here. We've been holding weekly 12 EMA for ages. I'll put my stop halfway between the 12 EMA and 26 EMA, and I'm just going to take some ginger scales down into that, and that'll either be another hold of weekly 12 EMA and show goes on, or we'll lose weekly 12 EMA. It'll set up monthly consolidation, and then you stop out. So let's take a look at RNDR BTC, see if we have any intel here. So we haven't been riding weekly 12 EMA, but I think this is a 2-week 12 EMA rider. Yeah, 2-week 12 EMA rider here on RNDR BTC. So if we are to see a little more weakness, then if this gets down to the 2-week 12 EMA, that can be another location to give you reason to try to crack off at RNDR USD. So got a few other names testing weekly 12 EMA right now. I think avax. Yeah, avax, been riding weekly 12 EMA. It's testing it now. Is the show going to go on with another hold, or is it not? No one knows, but we do know that these locations are good spots with solid risk to reward for bullish trades. And then if it's lost, that tells us that we've got a shift on. So we can, just to kind of talk about this concept a little more, we can go to AIOZ. We had this on the daily where, playing off the daily 12 EMA is working for several weeks, and then you lose it. And after you lose it, that's creating room for the lower high. Then bears want to confirm the downtrend. So we will see that eventually on all of these names that are riding weekly 12 EMA. Sol, RNDR, AVAX, Phil, I think, is riding weekly 12 EMA. Yeah, kind of. We'll click through all the other alts in a moment because there's another element that we need to talk about here. Essentially, we've got a handful of alts. Yeah, we'll just talk about it now. We've got a handful of alts confirming weekly downtrends. And if you remember back from a while ago at this point, February, when we had a bunch of alts, looking at Phil here, that had room for a weekly lower high. And then one by one, they all got knocked off and went to higher highs. We had Theta get it first, room for a weekly lower high, went to higher highs. Then Phil did it, and one by one, everybody did. ADA, Matic, AAVE, AVAX, everybody went to the higher highs. Well, AVAX did get the lower high, but then quickly went back to higher highs. So with some names confirming weekly downtrends, we have to be cautious. Is this the first sign that we're going to see other names follow? And in terms of looking for names to follow, there's going to be two different categories. Because if we're being cautious of weekly downtrends confirming in alts, that can't happen from here on AVAX because we're coming off of the highs. That can't happen from here on RNDR because we're coming from the highs. Can't happen on Sol because we're coming from the highs. But names that have weekly lower highs, like if we look at, so Adam's part of the crew that confirmed the weekly downtrend. It's notable for the space. AXS, is it going to follow? It's got the weekly lower high. It's got the setup here. And just to clarify a bit more, we're riding the weekly 12 EMA here on AXS. But since we're coming from a weekly lower high as opposed to a higher high, like RNDR is coming from a higher high. AXS coming from a lower high. So those are two different situations. So AXS, we got to be cautious of the weekly downtrend. Link, got to be cautious of the weekly downtrend. We're coming from a lower high. That lower high is set. OP has already confirmed the weekly downtrend. Sushi has confirmed the weekly downtrend. Uni has confirmed the weekly downtrend, which there's some news on Uni. Had a daily tightening range and some SEC stuff, bringing the volume, bringing the downside, and impressive follow through from bears on that. So just watching the daily downtrend on Uni. And the other DEX coins shaking it off pretty decent. It's pretty much Uni taking it on the chin. Downside in these other ones, but hardly comparable. I'd say Sushi is the next weakest on that. But Yeah, just being cautious now that we're seeing some weekly downtrends confirm. There's two ways that it can play out. Is that foreshadowing everybody else following? Or are those names just going to be weak? And then we'll have our strong names like Sol, RNDR, not strong in the short term, but strong, bigger picture. Sol, RNDR, FET, Pendle. Are those going to carry the torch, set healthy weekly higher lows, and then keep it going? Not that Pendle's consolidating on the weekly, but something to be mindful of. Let's look at our meme coins on the weekly now. So meme coins tightening up on the weekly, but the stage is there where they could confirm a weekly downtrend because they're not coming off of the highs. So Pepe is like that. Doge is not like that. Doge is coming off of the highs, so we're still looking for a weekly higher low. You can't confirm a weekly downtrend there. SHIB could confirm a weekly downtrend. We've got a weekly tightening range now. WIF cannot confirm a weekly downtrend. That's still just a lifetime weekly stair step. Very clear guide there. And Bonk technically can confirm a weekly downtrend. That's a very dinky bounce. But higher low, lower high, if bears take out 24.1056, that would be a weekly downtrend. So we'll continue to monitor these things just as we continue, or as we monitored that weekly lower high gang as those all got knocked off one by one. So if we get like Link following with a weekly downtrend, AXS following with a weekly downtrend, each one that does that, it will tilt the needle a little bit towards, maybe we've got some more weakness coming into the space. So keep an eyes on that. To talk about our favorite turd, INJ continues to just be a turd, kind of similar to RNDR in the sense that was a nice daily bounce, and bulls are displeased with the depth of the pullback. So, low risk opportunities for bulls to be playing off this clear base of support, but we don't have our ratio chart cooperating. INJ BTC continues to struggle. New lows, daily stair step, daily 12 EMA, and we are now pushing through the monthly 12 EMA. So we're still looking for a monthly higher low, but this is losing ripeness. I'm not giving up on INJ, but am respecting that the burden of proof is 150% on bulls. Low risk bottom fish, burden of proof 100% on bulls. And you don't have to be an aggressive bull there. Like if INJ BTC sets a monthly higher low, then there will be opportunity to get in on INJ USD after the fact. Say you don't want to bottom fish this just because bulls are not proving anything, even though it's low risk. Bottom fish plays, they always feel futile, but the risk to reward just makes it worth it. So that, that's the type of play that you can hit on like 15% of them and be profitable, because just the nature of it is it's going to have like a 8-to-1 risk to reward or something like that, depending how close you get to your stop. But let's say you don't want to do that. You wait for bulls to so maybe daily EQ and then break the daily EQ bullish, and you're like entering on that, putting a close stop there, something like that. Again, there's many ways to play this game, and each of us have to figure out what's our style, what jives with us, what tools are we effective with, what trade styles make us get nervous, what trade styles flow with our personalities, and yeah, it takes time to figure out. Gotta go around the whole market and figure out what works for you, and then define your system. So I think that's pretty much all I'm looking at right now. Who do we want to check out? We will check out Doge because it's our strongest meme coin here. So similar to Bitcoin, daily higher low is set. And also, actually not similar to Bitcoin. So we did get the 4-hour uptrend here. We did not get that on Bitcoin. And then it didn't see follow through. So that is a point in favor for a continued tightening range, and is probably a 12-hour EQ. Yeah, so we've got low, high, higher low, lower high. Anything over 18 cents would be a 12-hour higher low. And then what would we get when this breaks? If it breaks bear, that would be weekly consolidation getting underway a little more confidently. If it breaks bull, then that is continuation. And same as we're talking about on LTC USD, with the weekly bull flag confirming potentially without follow through here, we could have the same thing on Doge. So we'd still be looking for a weekly higher low compared to 1225, but we would have to respect that at this point. That's a weekly bull flag confirmed without follow through. Could be first sign of some monthly consolidation. So we'll just go one step at a time, and I'm liking the 12-hour EQ in the meantime here. Let's see what else we got. Tau had a big day today, Binance listing, and shout out to Fly for that. You know, this is the type of stuff that just really makes being in a community awesome, because, you know, I had no clue that Tau was being listed on Binance here today. And then, you know, Fly's able to come in, let me know that that's what we've got going on, and that is super helpful. So we had the 15-minute 12 EMA rider there for a bit, and once that was lost, the show was over. And this is another good example of just what we were talking about on AIOZ. You lose the 12 EMA that you're riding, you fish the lower high, you look for the downtrend confirmation, and that is talked about in the second webinar I did. If you go to the YouTube channel, there's a playlist called Joey Webinars. At the end of the second one, I talk about the EMA rider, and then the third one is all about the different entry techniques. But if you haven't watched those, you should watch them. The feedback has been pretty positive that people are finding clarity from those webinars, and a lot of the things that I talk about here will make a lot more sense if you drill those down. And it's pretty much the bulk of what you need to know to play the game. That was the goal of the series. So I'll link it in the comments after this video. But yeah, that's all I'm looking at. My YouTube is frozen. I'm not sure if I restart or reload the page, if it's going to end this stream, or if it will maybe fix the issue. So I'm going to try that here. If it ends the stream, then that's the end of the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe. Appreciate you all being here. If it doesn't end the stream, then hopefully I'll be able to read what y'all are saying, because I got no chat. Here we go. All right, it's making me do some verification. Give me a second. All right, I'm back, and it worked. Looks like it dropped the stream for a second, but now I can see what y'all are saying, and I've got my updates. Nice. All right. Let's see. Let's look into SIVR for Ed Laughs. Is that giving indication for LTC? I wouldn't think so. I don't know anything about that. I guess they're a little bit correlated. So anytime I'm trying to see if something is correlated, I go over here on TradingView, I hit the plus, and I'll go SIVR. Do new price scale. If you do same price scale, it kind of wonks it up. So do new price scale there, and then that will chart these on top of each other. So yeah, they are decently correlated here, but I don't know that I would say that like it's any high conviction thing to be looking for like a big bull break on LTC solely because of SIVR. We know it wouldn't be shocking to see that break of 115, because we're looking for the potential of a quarterly uptrend and yearly higher low being set. So that wouldn't be shocking, but I wouldn't be banking on SIVR leading the way for that. I gotta let my cat in real quick. 1 second. Come on in, baby. Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy. Nice to see you. All right. No problem, Mr. Ed. Jahanzib, I'm doing decent. Hope you're well, sir. Carlos JF, thank you for the chat room check-in, and definitely got that RNDR talk in. Let's see. Stoic Selfie wants to look at pepecoin, not Pepe. Let's take a look. So pepecoin is still just beasting. Weekly stair step off of the lows and daily 12 EMA rider. So you gotta just love having clarity like this. The status quo for pepecoin is as long as the daily 12 EMA is holding, bulls are in full control. If you're looking for entries, you're looking for plays off of the daily 12 EMA. And it's just that simple. Won't be surprising when it's lost from here, just because of the size of the move, but that burden of proof is firmly on bears. You know, it's the same thing as AIOZ. Like, we knew that it would be lost eventually, and there it was lost eventually. And pepecoin's the same deal. Same deal, and definitely one of the strongest names in the market right now, without a doubt. So daily higher low support is 526. That is also Harrison. No, he likes to crawl on my desk, which I'm down with, but it's raining here, and he comes in just soaking wet, and then just gets all my monitors and computer wet. I'll watch him out of the corner of my eye. All right, so that's that for pepecoin. USDT.D. Is this a USDT.D? USDT dominance, crypto cap. I don't know if I've ever looked at this chart, so let's start zoomed out. So we've got some pretty solid consolidation underway here. That's yearly consolidation. It was in a yearly stair step for its whole life. For its whole life, we've got a quarterly stair step off the top. We've got a monthly downtrend, and we have got weekly 12 EMA resistance. So bears are in full control of USDT.D as long as weekly 12 EMA is resistance. And I imagine this is just like inverse Bitcoin is what it's looking like to a degree here, at least the last few months. Let's pull up this whole thing again. We can just use the Coinbase one. So yeah, pretty just inverse Bitcoin at this point. That was our weekly 12 EMA test there. Weekly 12 EMA test here on USDT. So the TA for Bitcoin, you pretty much just flip it around and reverse it. Granted, we are in a straight up 3-day equilibrium here, whereas Bitcoin did get the lower low, or what would be a lower low here on USDT.D. That little higher high. If it was perfectly inverse, that would have been a lower low there, is what I'm saying. But yeah, weekly 12 EMA guy. That's going to be that. Let's see, looking at Floki for a mercy received. Interesting name. Floki. Floki's beasting right now, isn't it? Now, bigger picture, it's beasting, but we're going sideways at the highs at the moment. So blue sky bull. If I'm not mistaken, let me just double check that some other exchanges. So we're not a blue sky bull. Glad I checked. So we do have resistance overhead here at 35,900. And we'll go back to the Binance one for the short term. So a lot of month left, but certainly, yeah, I won't even really worry about the shape of this monthly candle at this point. I'd say, like, you know, when you get in the final third of the month, that's when you start looking at that more. And this is pretty similar to like Pepe. If we look at Pepe, that's not the identical chart. Identical chart there. So definitely want to keep an eyes on the other meme coins here, and it's just a weekly EQ. So this is one of those names that could see a weekly downtrend. If we were to lose 16,086, We got weekly lower high resistance at 26,723, and daily got a big enough bounce for a daily higher low. Couldn't get that higher low shaped up, but then now we've confirmed a daily bear flag without follow through. So is that the first sign of a weekly higher low shaping up to stay in a tightening range? Could be, but bulls are going to need to confirm a 4-hour uptrend if they're going to say that we are potentially setting a quick weekly higher low here in this tightening range. So big smackdown off of this 4-hour bounce. So bears definitely playing defense. Oh, and that was, did the other memers do that? Yeah, everybody else did that. There's actually some pretty notable volume into the meme coins at noon here today. Doge did not really get it. SHIB didn't really get it. WIF didn't really get it. So I guess just Pepe and Floki. Well, Bonk. Won't forget about you, Bonk. Yeah, Bonk didn't really get it either. Definitely a Pepe Floki thing. And Pepe's holding on to it a lot better. You know, Pepe getting this 4-hour uptrend. Look at this. So very similar 4-hour charts. And then Pepe getting the 4-hour uptrend to get the daily higher low set, whereas Floki went to daily lower lows and then is now not holding on to the gains as much. So when you have two names that are very closely correlated, a lot of times it behooves you to play the stronger name bullish and the weaker name bearish, but not really anything changing until we break out of this tightening range. All right, OMUSD. OMUSD. Do we want to look at it? Yeah, we'll look at it on Binance. We will poke around though to make sure that it's truly all-time highs. OMUSD. We'll just look at this index. Yeah, so we're at all-time highs. We are at all-time highs, monthly stair step into the heavens, weekly, not even testing 12 EMA, and at this point, a weekly stair step. It's probably like a 3-day 12 EMA rider the whole way. No, yeah, we'll go 3-day 12 EMA rider. It's debating between 3-day and 2-day. Looks like it's more of a 2-day. 2-day 12 EMA rider. That's your supreme guide on OM, and the same concepts that I've been talking about with 12 EMA riders apply for this. So our last 2-day higher low is at 58,274, and bulls are in full control as long as that is the case. We probably got some smaller time frame EMA that we're riding. Not really, not the 4-hour. We do have a 4-hour uptrend though. 4-hour uptrend in conjunction with a little scraggly daily uptrend. I think I'd probably like 4-hour uptrend and 12-hour uptrend though. Yeah, I like the 12-hour better than the daily here. It got 12-hour 12 EMA support, a little 12-hour stair step, 4-hour stair step, 4-hour uptrend. That's going to be the guide in the short term. And, you know, something that I wrote about in the room here, I'll just pull the message up because it's a pretty important concept. Give me just a moment here. So this was on Monday morning. So in general, when we've got a 15-minute 12 EMA support, for example, hourly 12 EMA, 4-hour 12 EMA, daily 12 EMA, you've got to ask yourself, how aggressive or conservative do you want to be? More aggressive is looking for higher lows off the smaller time frames. More conservative is waiting for the larger time frame higher lows. So just in case, like, you know, it's not really connecting when I'm like, oh, we've got this EMA rider, we got this EMA rider, we got this EMA rider. You know, what does that do for us as traders? How do we execute on that? It depends on whether we want to be conservative or aggressive. An aggressive OM bull is looking for like an hourly higher low off the hourly 12 EMA. More patient's going to wait for the 12-hour 12 EMA. Most patient is going to, not most patient, but with what we have to work with right now, they're waiting for a 2-day higher low off the 2-day 12 EMA. And then, you know, I'd say like the most patient is waiting for like a monthly higher low off of monthly 12 EMA. And you don't have to pick one where you say like, oh, I'm just going to be patient on this. You can make the aggressive attempt off the hourly 12 EMA. And then if it doesn't work, you stop out. And then you can try again at the 4-hour 12 EMA. Obviously, you need to manage your risk and make sure that you're not just getting bogged on each one of the ways down. But if you've got decent short-term navigation, you can usually get at least enough of a bounce off of it to get risk-free and hopefully have that be a break-even stop. And then if that's break-even, then you've got no shame trying for the next one lower. So that's always that's like the first question we have to ask ourselves when we're looking at a setup is, do I want to be aggressive? Do I want to be conservative? All right, we've got a chart guys stream coming up, so I'm going to wrap things up here. Oh, Ryan says Pepe Perp futures getting listed on Coinbase, hence the bump. Thank you for the news, sir. Again, just the awesome thing about community. I'm out of touch with the news, so I seriously rely on all of y'all to keep me in the loop with it, because I'm just a chart nerd, and typically the charts tell the story, so I can like survive as like a heavy chart nerd. It's a spectrum though, and you don't want to be only charts and you don't want to be only fundamentals, but I'm like 95/5 charts and fundamentals, something like that. So that 5% I get from all of you guys, and I'm very appreciative for that. Y'all are the bomb. But yeah, gonna have to wrap up the stream. We got 49 likes. If you can hit like, if you haven't, I'd appreciate it. If you don't want to, I won't hold it against you. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. We got a ton of free information out there to learn how to trade, learn how to do TA, and we're just here to help people. So hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see what we get through the weekend. At this point, Bitcoin probably going to be within this sideways range still through the weekend. And also, we didn't talk about this, Bitcoin dominance. What overall crypto bulls want to see is when Bitcoin tightens up, you want to see Bitcoin dominance drop and that rotation go into alts. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing that at the moment. So we've got daily higher lows on Bitcoin dominance that just keep forming. Or that's not a higher low, but that's our low, but higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So as long as these higher lows keep forming, it tells us that Bitcoin is in general the place to be. We certainly see alts make their runs, and that's the ratio charts that tell us that. So if you don't have a ratio watch list, I would recommend getting one, because that lets us know who's the standout alts, regardless of what Bitcoin dominance is doing. But yeah, kind of slowing down in the space. Opportunity for some weekly higher lows in RNDR, avax, was it? Let me double check that. Sometimes I mix up these A's, avax, atom, AXS. Where'd avax go? Yeah, it's avax. So weekly 12 EMA opportunities on a handful of names, weekly downtrends confirming on a handful of names, have us perking up our ears a little bit as, bulls in the space, or bears in the space, whatever. But yeah, that's that weekly tightening range on Pepe and SHIB. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for spending some of your time with me, and I will see you next time.